Hello students, uh, warm welcome to my channel. The topic which we are going to discuss today, that is zero-based budget. Let's discuss the expected accomplishments of today's session. We will talk about what is zero-based budgeting. We will talk about suitability of zero-based budgeting, in which organization or in which department or in which operation zero-based budgeting is suitable method to prepare budget. A difference between zero-based budgeting and incremental budgeting. This is very important that we should have to compare the things with likely. It is alternative against what? Incremental budgeting. Then we will talk about what are the steps to follow to prepare zero-based budget. Then we will talk about the merits which you will avail by having zero-based budgeting, and then the demerits or disadvantages of zero-based budgeting. Let's start with what is zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting is a method of budgeting. What is this? This is one method to prepare budget. In this method, all expenses must be justified for each new period. So you can't do the expenses which you are incurring in your previous period. You will just carry those expenses in this period. For that purpose, we are supposed to start from scratch, from zero base. You are not having any reference of data of your previous year budget. And what will happen that every function within the organization is analyzed for its needs and costs. So every department, every operation, every function within the organization will be analyzed for what is the need, what is the requirements for that department operations in the next accounting period, and what are the expected costs for that. Then budget will be built around the needs for the upcoming period, regardless of whether your total budget will be higher or lower than the previous budget. So the conclusion, the summary of this whole definition is that under zero-based budgeting, we are going to start from very scratch. We are not getting the reference of the budget of our previous period. Okay, and then we are preparing the budget for the whole organization. There is another definition which is also covering the same theme. It is a budgeting process that allocates funding based on program efficiency and necessity rather than budget history. So we are not using our previous history. We will analyze whether that program, whether that operation, whether that procedure, whether that function, whether that process is necessary and it is a value addition for the organization or not, and then we will allocate the funds for that process, for that operation, for that function, for that product line, etc. Okay, I believe you got the idea what is zero-based budgeting. I am again repeating, in zero-based budgeting, we are starting from scratch as it is indicated from its name. To which organization or which department zero-based budgeting is suitable? First of all, look, it is suitable for service industry because nature of service is different from organization to organization, from procedure to procedure, from service to service, and its timing, quantum, amount, the methodology of the provision of the service is different from organization to organization, department to department. So for every department, for every organization, for every service line, you are supposed to determine different need analysis, and for that purpose you can uh, easily utilize zero-based budgeting, like at schools, colleges, universities, hospitals. So all these are service organizations. It is also suitable to the not-for-profit organization. The organizations, those objective is to provide the quality service to serve the members or community, but not to arrange the profit, like local governments or central governments or federal governments departments. Then we may have suitability of zero-based budgeting for discretionary cost, even though you are dealing in products, like you are a manufacturing organization, retail organization, or wholesale organization. In that case, you can use zero-based budgets for what? The discretionary costs, the costs those are not necessary to incur for the organizations to run the operations of the organization. For those costs, you will evaluate the efficiency of the operation, and then you can allocate the cost according to the efficiency of that operation, because it is a discretionary. It is your prohibitive right whether you will incur that cost or not. Then uh, for rationalization decisions, this is very important. First of all, we should have to look what is rationalization. So rationalization is a process where you will evaluate your processes, departments, product lines, operations, whether that is suitable or not, whether we should have to close that operation, department, or product line or not. In that case, you will use the zero-based budget to justify the expenditures you are incurring for that process or product or department. Then we may have suitability of zero-based budgeting when you are hiring new management. In this case, how it is suitable, like there is a possibility the previous management may have some like unproductive operations, and they have allocated the costs. If you will use the previous year's budget and you will just add or subtract something, means you are using incremental budgeting. In that case, there is a possibility for new management that they may carry the operating inefficiencies of previous period management. So in that case, what is suitable, that new management will use the zero-based budgeting uh, by starting from scratch to develop their own policy. Now, what is the difference between zero-based budgeting and incremental budgeting? As I discussed earlier, that under zero-based budgeting, uh, we are starting with a zero base. We are starting with a slate which is just empty, and you are starting your own workings on that slate. So it means you are not referring from the workings from the data which is used in previous accounting period. Okay. Incremental budgeting, on the other side, is a budgeting methodology, in which we are preparing the current budget by relying on the data of the past year's budget. We are just adding or reducing uh, relevant expenses from that budget, and we are using the previous year's uh, budget to prepare the current year budget. So the principal difference between zero-based budgeting, we are starting from scratch. We are not using previous year's data, but in incremental budgeting, we are using the previous year's data. Here we are just adding or subtracting the things to prepare the budget for this current uh, period. What are the steps to prepare zero-based budgets? First of all, define what is your decision package. So for that purpose, first of all, we should have to understand what is decision package. Decision packages are activities or items in the budget about which a decision, uh, it could be one your activity, sorry for interruption. It could be one your activity, it could be your process, it could be your product line for which you should have to take the decision whether to utilize or not, that whether to operate or not, whether to include or not in your budget preparation. So it is activity, whether we should have to include it in a budget or not. So these decisions packages are used to rank activities in order to prioritize your, your preferences about the operations. Okay. So these rankings will be used for what purpose? To allocate scarce resources in the budget. These decision packages must be thoroughly documented. So the most difficult part of zero-based budgeting preparation is the construction of okay. So there is a possibility that you may have two types of packages. One is called mutually exclusive packages. Here you are making the alternative methods to do the same task, to do the same job. Let's assume I'm explaining it with one example. What is mutually exclusive package? For instance, you are supposed to do some maintenance work. What to do? Maintenance work in your organization. Now, that maintenance work can be done in two ways. One way is we'll hire 3 employees. Okay. And they will do the work. For, let's assume for that purpose, your total cost for the accounting period is 40,000. Other way is you will outsource it to someone else. Let's assume it's making the cost of 50,000. Now, these are two mutually exclusive packages. You are supposed to opt one package from these two packages. So the package which is giving a better efficiency and which is having lower cost, you will decide according to that. So apparently, it is evident that 3 employees recruitment is cheaper package, but we will check the operating efficiency also. Let's assume these three employees are not technically well equipped to do the maintenance cost as compared to the team which your outsources may have. In that case, even though there is a higher cost, you may go for the second option. So under mutually exclusive packages, so this is very difficult task for the budget manager to decide which package you should have to include or which should not have to be included. Then there is an other type of the package which is called incremental package. So under incremental package, what you will do, you will make some necessary package to perform that operation, and then you will make some additional package. So to do the minimum work, you have some base package which is called the first portion of your package. Then you may makes an additional or incremental package for incremental work. So over there you will decide whether we should have to do that incremental work or not. For instance, you're producing the product line, like uh, and to deliver that product line you are supposed to do some packaging. In that case, what is the requirement? That minimum you must have a packaging material to deliver that product to your customer lines. Let's assume for that purpose, if you are producing, let's assume, refrigerator, and you are using the curtains to pack that refrigerator, there is a need of some paper. For that purpose, you are allocating some cost. But then you decide that, like previously, you have decided that the acceptable level, minimum level for that paper is that curtain is, let's assume, quality B. So for whether you will decide whether we should have to pack our refrigerator in quality A package curtains, or it will be used package B. So you will analyze the additional benefit which you will get by taking the decision to pack your packages, to pack your refrigerator in carton of quality A with the additional cost. So over there you will decide whether to use incremental package or not. Then we will evaluate rank and rank. Then we will evaluate and rank, evaluate, you will evaluate and rank each activity on the basis of its benefits to the organization. So let's assume this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4 and 5 and so on. Then in the last step, you will allocate resources in the budget according to the funds available and the evaluation and ranking of the competing packages. So in this way, you will allocate your total funds and then you will prepare your budget for the period. So these were the steps. So over there, the most important step is the construction of decision package. Then the next important step is the ranking, and then according to that ranking and the prioritization of your decision packages, you will allocate the funds. So what are the benefits we are having by using zero-based budgeting? The first benefit is the budget which you have prepared, it's well justified because you have a justification about your decision packages and you have given a valid reason to allocate the funds to that decision package. And it will be aligned to your corporate strategy. So it will be aligned to your corporate strategy. Then it is possible to identify and remove inefficient or obsolete operations, as we discussed when we are preparing different decision packages. So over there, it is possibility for us to eliminate the decision package which is inefficient or obsolete. So next benefit which you will achieve, that is the employees will be enforced to avoid wasteful expenditure, because they are well aware that how competitively they got the funds for their particular operations. Then it can increase motivation of staff by promoting culture of efficiency. So it can increase motivation of staff by promoting a culture of efficiency. So the staff will focus on more efficient operations, and it would be the source of inspiration and motivation for them to allocate the funds, to utilize the funds, to do the operations in more efficient ways. So zero-based budgeting is supposed to construct the decision packages every year from very scratch. So if there is any change in your business environment, like for your needs are changed, so in that way you would be able to respond to that particular change. Let's assume, again I would refer you to the COVID-19 situation. Now the business operations and the methodologies are fundamentally changed. Like I'm just giving you the reference that students are now more focusing on distance learning. In that case, this is the change in your business environment. And now let's assume I am a trainer. So I have planned the things accordingly that I should have to deliver my lecture through my YouTube channel. So this is when you're using the zero-based budgeting every year, you can respond to the changes in your environment. Then it challenges the status quo, how it is possible. For instance, under incremental budgeting, it is possible that the department head may ask that it is a history, it is a ritual that from last say 10 years, these funds are allocated to me. So I am entitled for these funds. But under zero-based budgeting, you are supposed to justify. So if you don't have any valid justification, the funds will not be allocated to you. In this way, your cartel will be broken, and you are not supposed to be like as a pressure group. So it emphasizes on future needs, not past actions. So like you will not carry forward the operating inefficiencies of your previous period. You will focus what is your requirement for your future. So now we are going to discuss what are the disadvantages of zero-based budgeting. What are the disadvantages of zero-based budgeting? It requires a lot of management time and paperwork. Lot of management time and paperwork. You are supposed to do the things from very scratch. When you are supposed to do the things from very scratch, in that case, it requires lot of time and lot of paperwork you are required to do. It is literally expensive to implement when you have uh, you are supposed to do the work from very scratch. So in that case, it is really expensive to implement the zero-based budgeting. It may lead to increase stress for management because they are supposed to do the activities uh, on every accounting period from very scratch, and you are supposed to justify the claims against your decision packages. So it could be a stress for the management. Uh, so its real application, the suitability of this zero-based budgeting is for service-based organizations because our nature of the operations is different from from uh, organization to organization, from department to department, from working to working. So under zero-based budgeting, there is a possibility that you may focus on your short-term benefits on the cost or expense of your long-term benefits, because you are focusing for a one accounting period. So you are supposed to justify your decision package for that accounting period, for that accounting period. So it is possibility that you may overlook what is the requirement for the next accounting period. It encourages managers to exhaust all their resources. So let's assume we are a human being. It is not necessary that even though the decision packages which you have established will perform 100% correct. So there is a possibility that there would be some inefficiencies and there would be some cost which you can save in your next accounting period or in this accounting period which you can save. So in that case, manager will try to use all the budget in this accounting period with the threat that in next accounting period they may not get the desired fundings. So they will overlook even though the inefficiencies which they have in this accounting period. The ranking process, the prioritization, which I have discussed earlier, that the prioritization and ranking and construction of decision packages is very difficult task. So that is also the disadvantage of zero-based budgeting. Thank you very much for your precious time. I hope you may have enjoyed my lecture. See you with next topic in next session.